Hey everybody, I have a video I'd like to share with y'all. My wife and I recently purchased this slightly modified JK and immediately started making plans to take it out on some adventures. First, we made it out to Pigeon Forge for the Great Smoky Mountain Jeep Invasion in August of 2019. It was fun. We got to see a lot of cool stuff, and I got a lot of cool ideas on what I wanted to do to personalize my new JK. We also got a little bit of wheeling in, but that's in another video. Then, some friends of ours sent us some information on the first annual Georgia Jeep Invasion being held at the Sunnyside ATV Park in Wrens, Georgia. The park is usually ATVs only, but occasionally they let the guys from Truck Night in America come out and film their show. If you haven't heard of it, go check it out on the History Channel. Anyway, when I found out that I could wheel my new rig on the set of Truck Night, I immediately made our reservations. The trails were going to be open Friday morning until Sunday, so we reserved a 30 amp site for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night. I wanted to be the first on the trails and hopefully the last to leave. So when the day came, we loaded up Trinity onto a U-Haul trailer because she's too wide for my flatbed, and we headed south for a wet weekend. We arrived at 11 o'clock Thursday night, and the park staff welcomed us to check out the trails before we settled into camp. First on the trails, check. This was the obstacle course. It started with the balance beams that spread apart at the end. This made it very interesting for some of the narrower tracked vehicles like my buddy's TJ. We actually ended up throwing him a winch line to keep him from slipping off. Once you get through the balance beams, you've made it to the parallel pipes. In the video, I actually stalled out, but to my defense, I haven't had a manual in years. Parallel pipes, then a couple cars, a dirt stair step, a pile of scrap pipes, and a few more obstacles made this a very popular spot. The Truck Night Garage, where the contestants of the show get crucial repairs and mods. While the doors stayed shut, many people, including myself, had to get a poser shot of their rigs here. While I had the GoPros running all weekend, there were not many opportunities to get out the drone until Sunday. The rain also put a dent in our plans to compete in some of the events planned for the weekend, but we still had a great time and can't wait to go back. A green hell starting hill. It wasn't a technical hill, but you definitely wanted enough momentum to make it up to the top in the rain, and I definitely didn't want to send it off the top. Bottom of the hill you could usually find all kinds of Jeeps slipping and sliding through the mud, but where it was Sunday, a lot of people had already left for the weekend, and I had aired down to about 12 psi, so there were no donuts for me. I think the park sits in an old gypsum quarry. Some parts may still be operational though, because we do see a lot of machinery on occasion, and there are some parts of the quarry that were off limits, but we still had plenty of mud to play in. I think I took enough gypsum home on that Jeep that I could have refinished the walls in our living room. Going up Start Hill was fun. To go all the way to the top, you really need a spotter to make sure no one is coming up the other side. There is only enough room for one Jeep at the top. This is a clip from Saturday where we had some friends spotting for us so that we could climb up the top of the front side. My wife Rebecca sure has come a long way. I can remember a time when she would have been screaming for me to let her out or to take her home. There are a lot of places to explore in this park, and I would never have thought that we would find this much beauty in an old quarry. This little trail had a fun hill climb that really put the suspension to the test. Steep hills with deep ruts, it was still no problem for Trinity. Let's watch as she conquers this challenge. Just around the corner was another little hill to climb, but this one was covered in a thick layer of muck. So if you don't carry enough momentum, you're going to try again, because there has to be something cool at the top. Notice the tires are not rolling, we are sliding down the hill. Well, if the tree wasn't in the way. Yes, there's always something cool at the top. Just look at this. Sunnyside also has a track. Friday morning we were able to take a few laps, but the track was roped off after the rain started. Otherwise, we would have tore it up. Sunday morning we went to town for breakfast and said our farewells to our friends. I was so anxious to get back to the park that I forgot to stop by the gas station and fill up. Luckily, I had 5 gallons in a jerry can to finish out the day. I said before, there are a lot of trails to explore, some more difficult than others, and we stayed out of the swamps because of all the rain. But I believe I saw a trail with a speed limit of 55. Most of the trails were directional, but you still need to be careful. We ran across a couple of jeeps that were lost and headed in the wrong direction, and actually wound up doing that ourselves once or twice too. It happens. This clip is from Sunday after our friends had left, and I probably should have turned around when I realized what trail I had turned onto, but that's not me. Notice the rut on the left? It gets deep. Yeah, that will put us on our side. And the trail is banked to push us into it. Wait a minute, am I in two-wheel drive? I could not risk spinning the rear and the back tires sliding into that rut, so I had to stop and shift into 4 low. I can feel my wife's nerves starting to tense up. I was a bit nervous myself, and we lose forward motion. Okay, Trinity has one last trick up her sleeve. Time to deploy the air lockers. With the lockers and a heavy foot, we slowly make progress, and we are up and over with a sigh of relief. If you have never been in a quarry, you may not know that there are hills everywhere you turn. Add rain, and there are some unique challenges, but in the end, you'll have an extremely muddy Jeep. Usually you're stuck cleaning it at home, but at Sunnyside, they have 2 concrete pads with pressure washers to clean up before you hit the pavement. There are also men's and women's restrooms with showers, as well as porta-johns scattered around for emergencies. They offer primitive camping as well as some 50 amp and 30 amp RV sites. We reserved a 30 amp site so we could have power to charge our batteries and to have lights at night without having to pack up the generator. At the registration building there is a small grill. I imagine the food is better the hungrier you are, but the event was not very crowded. I suppose the monsoon that hit the southeast kept all the mall crawlers warm and dry inside the garages. This wasn't the best deal for some of the vendors though, especially the snow cone man that had to be pulled out of the park by a train of Jeeps. Overall, it was a great weekend, a great park, and I hope we can make it back.